point of certainty. Like when you're certain about hereafter, the day of judgment. It's like you have seen it with your eyes. That kind of. A lot of time in the world, we haven't seen something, but we have knowledge and calculation and this and that. We can be certain about something we haven't even seen. So this is some kind of understanding by this, the beautiful book of God that it has a knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding will take you to the level of point of certainty in our life. It's like you have passed away, literally. A person who have seen at the point of death, have seen the other side, you have done that right now. You have literally passed away in that sense. Praise be to God. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful, so much Allah, the blessing of God. I'm here to continue with the English part of the Quran study, Surah 12, verse 78. As we are trailing along with the story of Joseph and learning about the lessons, as you know that as Joseph places the mug in the younger brother's bag, and it was the main thing we see is to teach these brothers lesson, to humiliate them to what they have done, and all those kind of things. And verse 78, I seek refuge in God from Satan the rejected, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. They said, "O you noble one, he has a father who is elderly. Would you take one of us in his place? We see that you are a kind man." One other thing to really pay attention is how God exposes our innermost intentions, our innermost thoughts. When we say, well, what it really is inside. They were the ones suggested to Joseph that whoever bags will have that, whatever you're claiming, the thief belongs to you. We can clearly see they are putting their life on the line to guard their younger brother. At one point, they were so desperate to take Joseph out. At this point, they're so desperate, they have seen their father cry day and night, suffer through all those years, and they have suffered a lot. They thought if they would take Joseph out, everything will be normal. But what happened? The completely opposite. They suffered all these years, and they don't want to go through any more further problems. And they will do whatever it takes to protect their younger brother. And think about, they will not suggest that punishment, the thief belongs to you, because not even in their inner mind that they would think the younger brother would commit some kind of theft or anything you can imagine. Why is that? Because they know. When we live with people, we know what they're capable of or what their behavior is. Inside they knew the younger brother is honest man, and he would never ever steal anything. You know when you live with someone, yet how they've been treating him and Joseph. So in their innermost thoughts, they knew the younger brother will never ever commit a crime like this, and they would have never suggested, otherwise they know that they're going to lose their younger brother. Just think about how God exposed their innermost thoughts in this way. And here we can see how desperate they have become. All these years suffering and suffering and suffering. They're seeing their father cry, and they will guard on their life to protect their brother. Look at what they're saying. "Oh, you noble one." Now they're really, really in a begging state. They're seeking mercy from Joseph that please, not him. Not him. Imagine this punishment. They are the ones suggested. Why would they suggest? They knew the younger brother was not capable of. He's an honest person. Just imagine all these things, how God exposes. And now they're begging. He has a father who's elderly. The word elderly, think about that. That's why I talked about before. the reason Jacob lost his eyesight, the word elderly, and if you start connecting dots, why did Jacob lost his eyesight? It starts to paint a vivid picture. You really have to think about it. He's elderly, admission test. He's a prophet. He's a messenger of God, descendant of Abraham. When you put all these things together, then and only then we may be able to see. And I'm going to mention some verses coming up that will shed more light on why did he lost his eyesight. And look at that. Would you take one of us in his place? Imagine at some point in their life they were desperate to take Joseph out so they can get their father's attention, and now they're putting one of their own brother's life on the line to save the younger brother. How the tables have turned. Oh, praise be to God. They're so desperate. Take one of us. He has an elder father who's very old. Oh, you noble one. And we see that you are a kind man. Everywhere you look at this verse, they're really, really seeking Joseph's mercy. That maybe he can. How begging they are. This is one way of, like, the dreams, signs are coming into a vivid picture of prostration. They're literally begging him, please. And Joseph can see their feeling, how desperate they are. They're trying to protect their brother. He can see in their eyes. See, that's why throughout the Quran we see, if you are with God, God will protect you. God will be on your side. But if we cheat God, if we disobey God, then we can see it otherwise. 79, he said, God forbid that we should take other than the one in whose possession we found our goods, otherwise we would be unjust. And you say, God forbid, why would you suggest something like the one who commits the theft? You want us to take someone else in his place? Are you suggesting us to be unjust? Why would we do that? Why would you suggest something like that? When they despaired of changing his mind, they conferred it together. Their oldest said, do you realize that your father has taken a solemn pledge from you before God? In the past you lost Joseph. I'm not leaving this place until my father gives me permission, or until God judges for me. He's the best judge. When they lost all hope that Joseph is not going to change his mind, and now they're conferred together. You see a deja vu here, conferred together. At some point of their life, they were conferring with each other what to do with Joseph. They were walking back and forth, talking to each other. Hey, what's your suggestion? What do you think we should do? Now they're doing the same thing to protect the younger brother. At one point, they're talking to take Joseph out. This time, they are conferring with each other to protect the younger brother. Think about that. And the eldest one, the one is the most, probably the wise one, and he's making them realize, solemn pledge, you have talked to your father before when you took Joseph out. Remember that conversation, and here you took a solemn pledge before God. And now he reminds them, in the past you lost Joseph. Still they have no idea, could this be Joseph? Why this person is interested in our younger brother? He looks like a perfect age for Joseph to be right now. But how God, controls people's mind to not their mind to go to that direction, until later on they will realize that you are Joseph. And he's saying, I'm not leaving this place. To this point now, they were willing to put one of their own on the line, and this time the elder one saying, I'm not leaving. You guys go back. See how much they have suffered. He can't even face his father. And all this too, when the caravan will go back, the father will say the elder one is still there, and they are up to this point that they tried their best to protect their brother. This time they're taking every action to protect their brother. This is just not one incident. These are very important lessons to learn. Today, if one sees to get some benefit from someone, to cheat on money or any other matter, then I will get some benefit out of this. Read this surah. First of all, the benefit that we get out of cheating someone in money or any other way will not make us happiness, and the payback will be heavy, plain and simple. They thought that they will be happy after Joseph is gone, but instead they were miserable, and they end up paying a heavy price. Just think about that. So being honest and sincere with God, the best lessons we can learn through this book, to obey God and make our life easy. People run after small worldly happiness and will do whatever it takes and not thinking about the consequences. In the world, people can get away from things, but in God's system, we cannot get away. It will come back to haunt us. And he's saying, God judges for me. He's the best judge. I mean, think about that. God judges for me. Do you really want God to judge us? When we should be seeking God's mercy. If God really judges us, we will be in a severe loss because we always making mistakes and sins. We need to ask God for repentance, forgiveness, and His mercy. One of the beautiful words that if Adam was taught that if you don't give us mercy and forgiveness, we will be the losers. 1281, go back to your father and tell him, back in Palestine, our father, your son has committed a theft. We know for sure because this is what we have witnessed. This was an unexpected occurrence. You may ask the community where we were and the caravan that came back with us. We are telling the truth. So they were sent back, and Joseph is telling them to tell your father, go back, that your son has committed a theft. Now they're telling their father this. And imagine this time they are innocent and how they will be blamed. First time with Joseph, they did intentionally. This time, they're trying every aspect of the situation to be protecting their brother in any way they can possibly do that. And what's happening? The other way around. I mean, they're innocent. Back in Palestine. So they go back and they tell their father, your son has committed theft. Imagine at this point, they're innocent. First time with Joseph, they intentionally did that, but this time they're innocent. And how miserable they are. They're trying to prove that their innocence status to their father, and how they are being blamed and how they are feeling. It's a miserable situation. They're telling their father, your son has done it. We're telling the truth because this is what we witnessed. They're trying every way possible to prove their innocence. This is an unexpected occurrence. They didn't plan. This is unexpected occurrence. What about Joseph? Was that unexpected occurrence? See, think how God will. This is not just this incident. This will happen in real world when we do something. If you're not honest, look at their desperation. To the point they say, you may ask the community where we were and the caravan that came back with us. They're desperate. Ask these people. We didn't do anything. He's the one committed the theft. So in the punishment they kept the brother. We are telling the truth. What about the last time? 83, he said, "Indeed, you have conspired to carry out a certain scheme. Quiet patience is my only resource. May God bring them all back to me. He is the omniscient, most wise." Look at what God is saying. Indeed, you have conspired a conspiracy to carry out the certain scheme. Imagine how they are feeling miserable. In their mind, they are honest at this time, but they're being blamed for something they have not done. Think about that. How things have changed. Praise God. They are being blamed. How do you feel now? But you have done something in the past. And the father is like, quite patient. They see their father again. He's like, I'll be, I'll stay patient. May God bring them back to me. They are, how hard? You can just imagine how sad they are at this point. So here are some of the things about Jacob. 38:45. Remember also our servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were resourceful and possess vision. Like right here. We bestow upon them a great blessing of awareness of the hereafter. They were chosen, for they were among the most righteous. And we granted him Isaac and Jacob as a gift, and we made them both righteous. So if you really read these verses about Jacob, that resourceful and possess vision, if you don't understand these two words, resourceful in religion, with God, with knowledge, and possessed vision, these are one of the great blessing person can have, the possessed vision. And not only that, a great blessing of awareness of the hereafter. We're talking about Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham. And he is an elderly age. If not now, then when? You start connecting the dots. I cannot talk enough about what is the meaning of resourcefulness, the possessed vision, and the awareness of the hereafter. These are some of the... If one has the awareness of the hereafter, you will see this world completely different. You will see the whole picture. That will change your life completely. What really the outside is. We are stuck in a small room. And imagine there's a beautiful world outside and we cannot see outside. And someone has a vision, they can see what's outside. Imagine how would you feel? You work righteousness with all your energy. You are living a beautiful life. Now you can see why did he lost his eyesight. So you can fill in the blanks and you can maybe come to understand why did he lost his eyesight. Praise be to God. Some of my thoughts, mashallah, praise God. May God forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is heavy information. Praise be to God. 1284. He turned away from them, saying, I am grieving over Joseph. His eyes turned white from grieving so much. He was truly sad. That is where you can understand where this sadness is coming from. When you remember God so much, the happiness turn into some kind of crying, weeping, sad. When you possess vision of hereafter. When you meet someone after so long, you hug them and you start crying. This is where you start to understand why he was truly sad. God blessed him with a son, a prophet, a messenger of God, and blessed him with all this. Imagine, there's so many things you can link and you can understand. So here God is telling us that you turn away. So one can look at this situation however they want. And maybe he was in love with his son too much, but then that will be showing a weakness of Jacob where he loved his son so much. And we know that when you love something more than God, then that thing becomes your God. So see, that's why I'm shifting more towards there was happy tears. There's a reason he lost his eyesight. It was not because of this worldly matter of weakness of us loving money, children, family, and other things. It was for another reason. Praise be to God. Looks like it. Again, could be the other way, but what I, mashallah, see is that this is a heavy stuff. They said, by God, you will keep on grieving over Joseph until you become ill or until you die. They're like swearing by God. I mean, they're so desperate, so down. And frustration, tension, look at the feeling they're going through. Despair, hopelessness, sadness, grief, sorrow, misery, depression, heartbreak. You can imagine anguish, all these kind of feeling going through them. He said, I simply complained to God about my dilemma and grief, for I know from God what you do not know. And furthermore, he's saying that, I mean, of course, he's a prophet. A righteous person doesn't complain. So in his mind, as we can understand, God have blessed them with certain knowledge. And he's playing along with Joseph, as we can understand. That's why he sent back his sons to enter from separate doors. There's a secret communication going between both of them. It looks like it. And a righteous person doesn't complain to God. And the way he's saying is that what you have done, and showing these sons that make them feel miserable, and so they can learn a lesson. Why would, I simply complain to God? You know that a righteous person wouldn't do that. They always appreciate God for my dilemma and grief. And this part, for I know from God what you do not know. See, again, there are so many hints in these verses. I know from God what you do not know. Possession of awareness of hereafter, possessed vision, certain knowledge. I mean, all those things. 87. O my sons, go fetch Joseph and his brother, and never despair of God's grief. None despairs of God's grief except the disbelieving people. 87. O my sons, go fetch Joseph and his brother, and never despair God's grace. None despairs God's grace except the disbelieving people. So again, I'm telling you, none despairs. This is the same statement made by Abraham. He said, I simply complain to God. None despairs. See, you can start why he said that he complained to God. He's playing along with Joseph. Looks like it. Now let's okay, I got your message. I know you're safe and you keep the younger brother. Okay, fine. Let's play along. Let's teach these sons lessons so they can improve. They care about them. They still care about these sons. They could have kicked them out. Not only forgiving, but teaching them lesson. And he's saying, go fetch. Go fetch. Fetch means you already know something is there. It's not like you go search and find. Fetch means it's something over there to go get it. Like you throw a ball and fetch. So he's saying that, oh my son, go. So you can see the hints. He knows Joseph and his brother are safe. Things are wrapping up now. Never despair God's grace. Another reason you can say is God gave him a good son, a prophet, but taken away from him for a while. But Jacob possessed the vision of the awareness of the hereafter, so he can see that what is the awareness of the hereafter, that eventually his son will be back with him. And we can understand for sure that Jacob is living with his son Joseph in heaven right now, as we can imagine. Probably other brothers too, if they have made it. With Abraham, Isaac, they're all living in heaven right now. They probably know each other, probably they have gatherings and all those things we can imagine in one way possible. Praise God. 88. When they entered Joseph, so heading Israel goes to Egypt. When they entered Joseph's quarters, they said, "O you noble one, we have suffered a lot of hardship along with our family, and we have brought inferior goods, but we hope that you give us full measure and be charitable to us. God rewards the charitable." So they go back. They need more food. Now they don't have a lot of stuff left, so they bring inferior goods, and now they are literally in a begging state, that we have suffered a lot. Oh, you noble one. How they are praising their brother, the one they took out a long time ago. Oh, you noble one. Along with our family, and we have brought inferior goods. And they're hoping for a full measure. and be charitable to us. God, you know how when you see a beggar on the street, give us money for God, God will give you this and that. So literally in a state of begging right now at this point. God brought them back to Joseph's doorstep for begging for food. You can just imagine how miserable they have become, how sad and suffering they have gone through. And why one would think that God will put Jacob through pain and misery because of these people's mistake. If one is righteous and believe in God and lead a righteous life, even though someone tried to hurt that person, God can put that person in a shield and where he's protected and inside he's happy. God controls everything. These are the brothers, they did the wrong thing. Why would you think God would punish Jacob for all these years to suffer? See, this is more and more dots to connect. Why did he lost his eyesight? Praise be to God. So you really have to sit down and study what does it mean to be awareness of the hereafter. This is something you have to really sit down. This is a heavy, heavy knowledge. A certain where Pharaoh was saying, I believe, a person who was so arrogant after all these miracles, insulting God and the prophet. But what just changed at the last moment? He said, I believe. This is the knowledge. But for him, it was too late. But imagine attaining that knowledge while living on earth. That will completely change our life. Awareness of the hereafter. And that is the status of point of certainty. Like when you're certain about hereafter, the day of judgment. It's like you have seen it with your eyes. That kind of. A lot of time in the world, we haven't seen something, but we have knowledge and calculation and this and that. We can be certain about something we haven't even seen. So this is some kind of understanding by the beautiful book of God that it has a knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding will take you to the level of point of certainty in our life. It's like you have passed away, literally. A person who have seen at the point of death, have seen the other side, you have done that right now. You have literally passed away in that sense. Praise be to God. 89. He said, do you recall that what you did to Joseph and his brother when you were ignorant? They said, you must be Joseph. He said, I am Joseph, and here's my brother. God has blessed us. That is because if one leads a righteous life and steadfastly perseveres, God never fails to reward the righteous. And so when Joseph reminds them that what they did to Joseph, now the light turns on after all this. Now they see the picture, now they say, oh, you must be Joseph. And they understand. He said, I am Joseph, and here's my brother. And look at the wording, God has blessed us. See how he's praising God. God has blessed us. It's not he said, I did this and I did that, I did that, I suffered, I stayed in the prison. And simple, God has blessed us. Those who possess understanding of the system, when they go through hardship, they realize why it was happening. A complainer will complain about everything in the past, whatever happened. But a successful person will look at the past life and the struggle they went through, and they will see that as a good thing. Oh, I worked that hardship and this. But you will see, a complainer will say, I was suffering here and I was suffering over there, and that person did this to me. And they will remember the grudge they'll keep in their heart. And they, instead of learning from all those downfalls in our life, they just keep the grudge and they keep on complaining all their life. A successful person in their life matters, and in the heavenly matters, in the worldly matters, a person becomes entrepreneur. They will look at their past life and they will be thankful for all those hardship lessons learned, and now they're happy. And same in religion, person who goes through the admission test and hardship and study in religion and all that stuff, they look at this as a positive for what they are right now. Look at Joseph, God has blessed us. This is because if one leads a righteous life and steadfastly persevere, God never fails. God never fails. It's impossible. If one leads a righteous life and steadfastly persevere and holding on to the path of God, not wavering, God never fails. Praise be to God. Even though Joseph made a mistake, he went through this, he learned his lessons. Maybe that was his admission test, all this part. But not for Jacob. He's in elder state. So that's why more and more dots connecting. We can imagine, 91, they said by God, God has truly preferred you over us. You are definitely wrong. Again, by God, whenever they mention God is in a swearing state, by God. Many times people say God's name to strengthen their statement. Oh God, I swear to God, and this and that. It's not a good behavior. To strengthen your statement, you're going to swear on God. But they say by God, and God has truly preferred you over us, but again, preferred you for a reason, not for randomly. There's a reason God preferred them, because they were obeying God. 92, he said, there is no blame upon you today. May God forgive you, all of the merciful ones. He's the most merciful. So one of the things I noticed is that he's not saying, I forgive you. It's God forgives, God forgives. Like when we forgive someone, do we think that I'm allowed to forgive, or am I at the state where I can forgive? That's something to think about. Am I even worthy of forgiving you? And this is a beautiful statement that there's no blame upon you today. May God forgive you. May God forgive you. He didn't say, I forgive you. Think about that. And he's saying, no blame. Basically, he's putting no blame upon you from my side on this matter. And of all the merciful one, he's the merciful. God forgives. No matter at what state we are, while we are alive on earth, we can go back to God and repent. Take this shirt of mine. When you throw it on my father's face, his vision will be restored. Bring your whole family back. Bring your whole family and come back to me. A story that started with the shirt, ending with the shirt. Praise be to God. They brought the bloody shirt of his Joseph to that a wolf devoured him. Now Joseph is saying, take this shirt of mine and throw it in my father's face. Praise be to God. Now they're going to take this shirt. Before they took one shirt, this time they're going to take another shirt. Praise be to God. Throw it on my father's face. His vision will be restored. And then he's inviting the whole family back to them. The footnote says, this marks the beginning of the children of Israel in Egypt. Moses led them out of Egypt a few centuries later. This is the story continues. They're going to live there. They're going to become slave of all this Pharaoh system. Moses will born over there and will leave and get married and come back and will lead them out. And the ocean will part. So miracles will happen one and after another. That will continue with that. And 94, even before the caravan arrived, their father said, I can sense the smell of Joseph. Will someone enlighten me? These are not regular people who are talking. The prophet of God with the certainty, with the awareness of the hereafter, the possessed vision, knowledge from God. And you connect more and more dots. These are very righteous people. Think about that. Will a person like that will make a mistake like that? Praise be to God. Can I smell Joseph? They said, by God, you are still in your old confusion. When the bearer of good news arrived, he threw the shirt on his face, whereupon his vision was restored. He said, Did I not tell you that I knew from God what you do not know? They said, our Father, pray for our forgiveness. We were wrong indeed. They looks like have learned their lesson. They were wrong. Praise be to God. In 98, he said, I will implore my Lord to forgive you. He is the forgiver, most merciful. So I will stop at 98, but I'll still say that I don't know what happened. Reality, we don't know. God doesn't mention here. God mentioned Joseph's mistake when he was done in the prison. We don't see something that God says Jacob made a mistake or anything like that. When you put all the dots together, the status of Jacob and everything together, we see a picture why he was sad. A person who loves God too much, then a sweet sadness is born in your heart where you cry at times. If you try to meditate at night time and you implore God and you really emotionally get involved, you will see a person will start crying. There's some nights that, mashallah, with the grace of God, I cried more in one night than I would have cried in all my life. And a person will see that person as a sad person. But these are not sad tears. This is when you love God so much, you enter a state where you are more sad because you miss God so much. And you're really humble to God. You reverence God. You really are down to earth to God. You're really, really grateful to God. And all those things combine. That's where we see the picture emerge. And what happened with Jacob. All praise be to God.